Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the forecast for the week of the 25th through the 31st of July. Wow, so we're ending this out on the very end of the month. That's kind of cool. Like the week is complete by the 31st. So this is for all signs. It is a broad spectrum reading, so you have to figure out where it best fits in your life. If it doesn't fit, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong or broken. Don't get caught up in the date. If you're seeing this at a different time other than the dates that it was created for, it might be when you're seeing it it's more important than when it was originally made. Each card will represent for a day or two, maybe 3 of the week. Kind of give you an idea of what's going on around you and out there and available to you. Please check out the drop-down menu underneath the video, underneath any of my daily forecasts. In there is a little bit of housekeeping rules, things I want you to think about, ways to get in touch with me if you want a private reading. All of that stuff is there. Please consider hitting the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the reading and joining us by subscribing and hitting the notification bell, following me on my social medias, sharing the video out, and all of that sort of stuff. It's all great ways of supporting the channel. And leaving questions and comments is always welcome. I do read them all. So if you comment on the video, I will see it. And that's about it. Let's get into this and see what the cards want us to know. We're now at the last week of July. I don't know how that happened, but it did. All right, so let's see what the first card is. Oh, something new to us. This is the Tower, which is mushroom. Interesting. So mushroom to me is kind of like, I don't know, it's sort of an opportunistic plant in a way. It is, usually mushrooms can be edible. They can also be sort of psychedelic. When you think about the tower in reference to sort of the plant of mushroom, and this is just me pulling connectivity here in my brain with symbolism and stuff. It's not necessarily anything that's written in the definition of this card. But mushroom to me sort of feels opportunistic in a way, like sort of how a host or I don't know if it's too early to be using science terms, but you know how certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Not creatures, but like when I don't want to say a disease, but that's the best thing that I can come up with right now. When a disease or something is looking for a host to live off of, right? That's kind of, to me, how I feel like mushrooms are. They're opportunistic in that sense. Like they will take and pull from whatever situation is at hand, right? So that they can thrive and grow. They are fungus, right? So they can proliferate pretty quickly. They can be rather in a way. I don't want to say bad for us because I actually happen to like eating mushrooms, but they are, they can be like pestilence in a way, I guess. And so when I think about the tower is major arcana. So expect a big start to your week. Expect maybe some disruption. The tower is always about disruption. The tower is always about showing us where possibly our faults lie, not our faults as much as faults, say, in a situation, things on shaky foundations, things that aren't necessarily well put together are no longer serving us. Those things become quite blatantly obvious whether we want them to or not. That's sort of the deal with the tower. The tower can indicate sort of upheaval, endings, and not by our choice, certainly. The tower is usually sort of the way that I view the tower is it's like kind of God doing for us what we won't do for ourselves, right? Or the universe sort of moving us along in a direction that we didn't necessarily see coming, or that we were unwilling to look at, or really, we might have known we needed to make a change in this area of our life, but we didn't, right? And so because of that, now we've gotten to a point where it's more obvious, or there's no going back. The change is imminent and it's happening whether we like it or not, kind of thing. That's always sort of the tower. There is grace in the tower, I feel like. There's always an opportunity to learn in the tower, in the sense of, I always talk about, let go or be dragged. There's this idea that, I think, personally, the tower is there not only to, upheave us and shift things around and create the change that we're like maybe too scared or unwilling to create for ourselves. But there's also this opportunity that the Tower presents where if we lean into it, if we trust the sort of the universe, the situation at hand, although it may not be the most easy of situations, if we sort of open ourselves to it and allow it to carry us, allow it to inform us, allow it to sort of change our environment, our situations, our relationships, our, it can be anything. It can be anything that we thought we were holding on to for a reason and we thought we were going to keep hold of it and it's now being ripped from our hands. Well, let it be ripped, right? There's usually something better on the other side of the experience. We just don't see it yet because we're too fearful trying to hold on to the very thing that we think we need, or that we think that, we were going to have, forever. And let's be honest, like nothing is ever really truly permanent in the universe, right? Things are constantly evolving and changing, even in small ways. But over the course of time, all of those small changes can create bigger changes, right? So I always think that the Tower brings us the opportunity to expand and grow, even if it might be through adversity. So keep that in mind. It's a significant card. It's not really a card that people look forward to. And I think part of the reason why that is because people don't want to have to adapt to the change that feels outside of their control. So keep that in mind in the beginning of this week. If stuff starts to feel a little bit shifting or hinky or weird or, unstable, that's what the Tower's trying to show you, and it's what it's trying to shake up for you. Okay, now midweek, we've got the Empress. So this is a big week, guys. We've got 2 major arcana coming out. The Empress is, so obviously we see this honeycomb in the center. We see chilies, warmth. The Empress is associated with the planet of Venus, which is the planet of love, right? All of those sort of beauty, grace, love, all of that sort of stuff. So whatever's upheaving in the middle of the week, ideally the Empress would indicate by the midweek we're a little bit more in line with it. We're certainly a little bit, my feeling is whatever we might be feeling shifting, changing, even if it's outside of our control, we are okay with it. We are, by midweek, we are actually hopefully embracing that shift. There's a creativity, there's an abundance, there's a nurturing that comes with the Empress that should allow us to see the shifts for maybe what they are and actually embrace them, or what's that? I don't want to say be excited by them, because the Tower doesn't necessarily always have to be the most comfortable of situations, but with the Empress there, I feel like she's going to take these changes and use them to her advantage, right? She's not going to let this sort of stop her from growing, learning, being abundant. She's associated with the harvest, with birth, with new ideas, with the nurturing and education of those new ideas, right? She's like the quintessential Earth Mother. So whatever is, maybe she represents us mothering ourselves through the shifts and changes that we're experiencing this week. But she's an extremely powerful card. She is, that association with the planet Venus, we should be able to find beauty, compassion, and love even in the midst of shifting and changing scenarios that are going on in our lives. And I'll go so far as to say that we should feel empowered while things are shifting, even if they're not shifting in what we think is our favor, right? I almost get this sense or this feeling that she might see, or we might be able to see, that the changes that are taking place are actually much needed changes, and it's kind of maybe in some ways a relief. Most people don't necessarily like change, but I think maybe we're ready to roll with this. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. I hope that's the case. And then the last card is the 5 of Earth, which this would be the 5 of Pentacles. This is Witch Hazel. Witch Hazel is that stuff that you put on your like your cuts and things like that. But to me, it's very healing. The 5 of Pentacles usually is like sort of the being put out in the cold card, or it could be a setback of some sort. It could be this is a snowy scene here, so there could be a little bit of a frigidness to this, right? Maybe feeling a little bit of a brace of the shift that's happening in the earlier part of the week, feeling a little bit desolate. I'm not necessarily super bothered by this 5 of Pentacles, because the little bird house that's hanging there, even though these birds are like in this snowy area, they have the safety of their home. They also have these new sort of winter buds on this flower or this plant to me on the witch hazel, which to me feels like not all is lost, right? And we need to maybe see that. Like if the tower, it's funny to me, if the tower is the winter scene we see here in this Five of Pentacles, or the setback, the being left out in the cold, the being deserted, or shifts taking place that we're not necessarily wanting to have happen, that would be representational in this card of the winter aspect of it all. But then the Empress comes in and she's sort of the buds of the witch hazel, right? She is the sort of the eyes, the heart, the nurturing spirit within us that is able to see the possibility even in the midst of the controversy or the change and the shift, right? Not to say that we won't necessarily feel the shift or be maybe worried about the shift on some level, because the Five of Pentacles is that sort of like setback card, but it could be a setback where we set back and then we have to reconfigure or re-look at our situation, re-look at our trajectory, re-look at the choices we've made or the path that we're on. And now we have to maybe reassess and sort of, there's also, with the traditional Five of Pentacles, there's that family walking through the snowstorm. I think one of the children is Lane, right? He's on a set of, not handcuffs. What am I thinking? Oh, dirty mind. Not handcuffs. Crutches. Jesus, I am like brain dead this morning. It's weird. I've been having like jaw issues. I think from grinding my teeth at night, and I have like this weird headache, and it's all on one side of my head. I hope it's not. I hope it is due to jaw grinding and not like something more worse. But, anyways, he's on crutches and they're moving through a snowstorm, yet they're outside of a church. But the thing is that their resilience, their drive, their push has not left them, right? This family's moving across the card, meaning that there's like, to me, the fives are always transitory. They're going to change for the better, but it's, there's a little bit of adversity happening in them, right? And we have to sort of work through that in some way, shape, or form, right? The adversity, when I'm looking at these three cards, is going to be bigger in the beginning of the week and more adaptable, or we're going to be able to move through it a little bit more by the end of the week. But is it completely gone? No, right? That's that Five of Earth. We have to sort of adjust, adapt, ground, and approach it from maybe a new perspective, one that is not all bad, because I like that Witch Hazel is this card, right? Witch Hazel to me is a very much a healing card, so I kind of like that that's the card for the Five of Pentacles. Even though there may be a setback, we're not letting it stop us in any way, shape, or form. All right, so this is new. Building community. Connect and collaborate with like-minded others. Find your tribe, card number 38. That would be an 11, which would be a master number. So whatever it is that's happening for us, if there's jobs being lost, if there's relationships being shifting or changing, if there's friendships that are falling out, whatever's being redefined for us this week, I think it is leading us to a truer sense of who we are or what we know to be. It's leading us with that Empress in the center of the week. I think that she is teaching us or informing us about how we want things to be, where we can find the beauty and the love and the compassion within our lives. All of that would lead to this sort of sense of building of this community, right? Or connecting to the people that really support us, that believe in us, that understand us, especially during times of adversity. So allow these adverse situations, if they are, shifting and changing around you, allow them to almost inform you of who your people are, where your support is, who your true connections are. There's some sort of opportunity to get, maybe a higher knowledge or an awareness out of the stuff that you're facing at this time. It's not all bad at all. It's actually probably pretty good, to be honest. I sort of feel like with the Tower, there's always this sort of unseen change that takes place that we are resisting and we didn't even know was available to us. And in hindsight, we're going to see it and be appreciative of it. We just need to get there, right? We need to get through the change and the shift, and then allow what's new to sort of take place or be built there, right? To be created there. We certainly have the creation energy with that Empress in the center too. The stone for this week is Remember. So Remember's an interesting stone to have as the weekly grounding stone, right? Because I don't like to necessarily dwell too much in the past. We can't really change it. And we also can't do so much. We can sort of plan for the future, but we can't necessarily control that either. So I try and be as much in the present moment as I can. It's hard to do. With Remember being here, sometimes it makes me think of, being really clear on the past and understanding what we've learned allows us to hopefully not repeat it. And so that might be part of the lesson here with this Remember stone. There's also an idea of remembering maybe who we are, what we want, what we deserve. And what I mean by remembering that, it's like kind of connecting ourselves to those aspects of self that we've maybe forgotten or that we've become accustomed to like sort of denying or not looking at, not honoring because we've maybe been in situations that require us to be maybe a different way or give our attention to something other than ourselves, that sort of a thing. Does that make sense? So this idea of remembering kind of maybe has a twofold meaning as to taking into account what we've been through thus far and really understanding it for what it is and maybe finding ideally some sense of appreciation about it as things are stripped away or changed around us. And in the process of the change that's going on around us, begin to remember like maybe what we want, how we feel, and honoring that first and foremost. Does that make sense? I think it does. So that is your forecast for today. It should be an interesting week. It'll be interesting to see how the cards play out throughout this week. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. And share it with those who you think could use it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And we'll see how the energy sort of changes and builds throughout the week. All right. Have a great day and take care. Bye-bye.